Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Gaming News, where we are bringing more information about the Activision Blizzard lawsuit and everything that has happened since last week's public video talking about the startup and what is going on with that. So, we're going to begin from actually last week, where a former worker of Activision Blizzard, who is no longer there and is with a different company, posted a relatively long thread on Twitter about their time at Activision Blizzard as a result of the Kotaku article. So we're going to start off there, so I'll show it a little bit, and then I'll just sort of read it, which is this. This is Cher Scarlett, and she writes, "This is certainly long overdue. I would be hard-pressed to find someone that wasn't witness to sex in the game lounges, coke in the bathrooms during a cube crawl, or a woman who wasn't sexually harassed at least once. I am so proud of these women," citing the Kotaku article in question. Blizzard has claimed that the DFEH report is false, misleading, and irresponsible. "I can tell you that I knew what was going to be in this report before I read it, because during my time there, for only a year, I witnessed all of those things." And name names. As someone who has or who was harassed, violated, retaliated against, had a false report filed against me that was acted on by one of my harassers, and watched one of my best friends be traumatized over and over again by the men in power at this company, I can't express the relief I feel. Watching the men in power be rewarded over and over again over the last 7 years, being blocklisted after publicly reporting on my own harassment, revenge porn hoarding by a community moderator, their names in this report, it means everything. I want justice for all of us. That is terrifying, that even before it happened, that this information was known about by multiple people in the company, and nothing was done, or it was hidden under the rug, or different things like that, just to show that the company is great and we're providing all of these awesome games and doing all these fantastic things, and never mind that over there. We don't give a shit about that, you know. And progressively throughout the week, we saw Mike Morhaime make a statement as a person who used to work for World of Warcraft and for Activision Blizzard for more than 10 years. We saw a general response by the World of Warcraft team about the allegations. We saw Chris Metzen offer information about the lawsuit and whatnot. We saw J. Allen Brack say something about it, and then finally Bobby Kotick addressed the allegations that have been out there. And I don't blame him. He had to do something, or else everything was going to go up in smoke. But anyways, the World of Warcraft team had posted a message that it was clear from our team conversations that we wanted to put forth a statement that was representative of the World of Warcraft team's sentiments. We asked all members of our team to send us their suggestions and feedback on how best to address the community, and this is the result. The past days have been a time of reflection for the World of Warcraft team, spent in conversation and contemplation, full of sadness, pain, and anger, but also hope and resolve. As we heed the brave women who have come forward to share their experiences, we stand committed to taking the actions necessary to ensure we are providing an inclusive, welcoming, and safe environment both for our team and for our players in Azeroth. Those of us in leadership understand that it is not our place to judge when we have achieved our goals, but rather for our team and our community to let us know when we still have more to do. This sounds weirdly familiar, but anyways. While we turn to our team for guidance in our internal work to protect marginalized groups and hold accountable those who threaten them, we also want to take immediate action in Azeroth to remove references that are not appropriate for our world. This work has been underway, and you will be seeing several such changes to both Shadowlands and WoW Classic in the coming days. We know that in order to rebuild trust, we must earn it with our actions in the weeks and months to come, but we go forward knowing that we share the same vision as our community about creating a place where players or people of all genders, ethnicities, sexual orientations, and backgrounds can thrive and proudly call home. And Asmongold has put out a number of different videos, which I will link, and he responded to this statement, which is, this is great, but what about all of the testimonials of the people working in awful conditions? It's great that you're deleting an NPC. Wow, great job, really. But how about less performative action and more real action? And I agree with him in this particular case. I have never really followed Asmongold in any capacity leading up to the last week or two about these allegations, but I find that he has a very good head on his shoulders and he speaks truth. Deleting an NPC is not going to fix anything. Slightly changing things that have zero monetary investment does not change anything. It's like you're patting yourself on the back and saying, hey, look at us, we changed some coding and deleted a character. Whoop-de-fucking-do. Do you think that's going to change how women have been treated? Do you think that's going to add the proper payment scheme for your female players, workers, who have done literally so much work and have endured all of this harassment over this time? And your best answer is, we're going to take some characters out of the game? Are you really assuming that there are still going to be a lot of people who are not already jumping ship to Final Fantasy? Like, what the hell? What are you smoking? Like, that's what I want to know. It's got to be some pretty powerful stuff. But anyways, moving on. So Chris Metzen offered an apology, and Mike Morhaime offered an apology, which backfired colossally because they tried to make it sound good, like we failed you, but didn't offer up any solutions, and were complicit, were working for the company, and knew that this was happening right under their noses, and they did nothing. And this is why it backfired on them, because it was proven time and time again with pictures, with articles. Look at this. They're talking about the infamous Cosby Suite. Look who is in this picture. There are very important people here. There is no way that the CEO, that the higher up people did not know about anything having to do with this when it's clearly shown people in this conversation with this person who was known to harass multiple women. The allegations, the stories are out there. Do not try to shield our eyes and go, it's okay, we're just gonna update the game and we're gonna do better and make sure to hire some people to look in and do an investigation and magically it's gonna fix everything. Jesus Christ, how stupid do you think we are? Moving on. Ghostcrawler worked the World of Warcraft team for an incredibly long time. He used to do a lot of the Blue Post. I remember reading a lot of the updates and changes that were coming to World of Warcraft at the time that I was playing the game, which was many years ago now. And for a long time, a lot of us looked up to Ghostcrawler because he gave us that information and whatnot. And he decided to tweet and said, by now you have probably seen the Kotaku article that was published this afternoon mentioning my time at Blizzard. A lot of you have reached out to me on Slack, so I thought it might be helpful to share a few thoughts. First and foremost, my heart goes out to anyone at Blizzard who has experienced harassment or discrimination at the company. That has no place in our industry, and even though I am proud of the progress we've made at Riot, I know that this journey is never over. We have talked a number of times about the culture at Riot Games is also not very pretty, so kind of interesting that you went from Blizzard to Riot that seems to have a relatively similar environment, and you're going to apologize for the harassment and discrimination. It just feels a little disingenuous. But anyways, secondly, I'm sorry that photos of me in a room that was dubbed the Cosby Suite have created a lot of discussion that risks overshadowing the work you're all doing. For some, this is an unwanted distraction, and I know that for others, it has brought up uncomfortable feelings and questions. I owe it to you to address it, so here it goes. The suite was a green room at BlizzCon that many of us used at the time to take a break and relax during the convention. Anyone who has been to BlizzCon knows that there is drinking, but I can genuinely say that I never saw or experienced any of the harassment described in the allegations. And if I had, I absolutely would have stepped in. Bullshit. Looking back, I am embarrassed at the nickname of that room, given all that we know now. At the time, in 2013, it was nothing more to me than a silly reference to an old flea market portrait. I wasn't even aware of Cosby's reputation until after I left Blizzard and the allegations became more well-known, and I certainly would not have tweeted about the suite if I thought it was something terrible at the time. All of that said, I understand that the story puts everyone in a tough spot, and I'm sorry for that. I hope my reputation here at Riot and your individual experiences with me give you a strong sense of the person I am and the values I hold. This does not feel good to me, if only because obviously we're talking about you went from one sort of toxic environment to another toxic environment, and I don't know what the update has been with the lawsuit regarding Riot Games and paying a lot of money to the women who were affected at Riot Games as well, which is a story you can find on Kotaku, and I did link in last week's video. And the thing is, people in the comments have mentioned that we have seen screenshots of the chat conversations. You said nothing. You did not call it out as you say here. So stop deflecting and fix this for real. And if anything you say has any real value, no excuses. No, you're misunderstanding the context. Fix it. And then other people who have also taken screenshots of those chat conversations showing that he did nothing. And this was also met very poorly by people. So, and then what happened is a lot of people at Activision Blizzard decided to strike, and they wanted to encourage people to donate money to specific causes because that's what they wanted to do, was empower women and make sure that they were not getting underpaid for the work that they were doing and actually receiving compensation earned for their position. And it seemed to have gone off without a hitch. But then, of course, we have Bobby Kotick's statement, which was infinitely better than Metzen's statement, infinitely better than WilmerHale's statement, and J. Allen Brack's absolute garbage statement, which we're not even going to get into that, but if you want to go look it up, feel free. It's unimpressive. Anyways, this CEO Bobby Kotick says to all employees, "This has been a difficult and upsetting week. I want to recognize and thank all those who have come forward in the past and recent days. I so appreciate your courage. Every voice matters, and we will do a better job of listening now and in the future. Only now, when it's convenient, that you've already taken a pay cut and you've already had a very bad reputation leading up to this point, and an even worse reputation because of everything going on right now. You had to say something really freaking good. And I just find it really funny that only now are you listening, and only moving forward are you going to do something about it. But anyways, let's continue. Our initial responses to the issues we faced together and to your concerns were, quite frankly, tone deaf. Yes, we are in agreement. It is imperative that we acknowledge all perspectives and experiences and respect the feelings of those who have been mistreated in any way. I am sorry that we did not provide the right empathy and understanding." Okay, I have questions about this particular... What do you mean, right empathy? You either have empathy or you don't. You either understand or you don't. Like, there is no the right type of empathy. What the hell is that? Anyways, many of you have told us that active outreach comes from caring so deeply for the company, that so many people have reached out and shared thoughts, suggestions, and highlighted opportunities for improvement is a powerful reflection of how you care for our communities of colleagues and players, and for each other. Yes, because obviously upper management just does not give a shit. Anyways, ensuring that we have a safe and welcoming work environment is my highest priority. Are you sure about that? And it's not your wallet? Okay. The leadership team has heard you loud and clear. Gee, I wonder why. We are taking swift action to be the compassionate, caring company you came to work for and to ensure a safe environment. There is no place anywhere at our company for discrimination, harassment, or unequal treatment of any kind. Again, you say this as one of your mandates. There's the 10 Commandments of Blizzard, and I have seen articles and pictures going around of someone right before the walkout on Wednesday had taped over a couple of the commandments that Blizzard has because obviously they were untrue. And I thought that was incredibly hilarious because you're saying, like, there is no place for this. This is what we have in our 10 Commandments. And it's a very PR'd statement. All of this is just extremely PR'd. But what is most interesting here is the part that I'm going to actually talk more about, which is I have asked the law firm WilmerHale to conduct a review of our policies and procedures to ensure that we have and maintain best practices to promote a respectful and inclusive workplace. This work will begin immediately. Good. On the surface, this seems fantastic. Anyways, the WilmerHale team will be led by Stephanie Avikian, who is a member of the management team at WilmerHale and was most recently the director of the United States Securities and Exchange Commission's Division of Enforcement. We encourage anyone with an experience you believe violates our policies or in any way made you uncomfortable in the workplace to use any of our many existing channels for reporting, because that worked out so well before, or to reach out to Stephanie, which seems again like this is a good thing. She and her team at WilmerHale will be available to speak with you on a confidential basis and can be reached at said email and phone number. Your outreach will be kept confidential, of course. No retaliation will be tolerated. Okay, so hiring an outside law firm to handle allegations of sexual harassment and pay gap and all of that discrimination and all kinds of things that were covered in some of those allegations we covered last week. It seems like this would be a good thing. However, I came across this. Activision Blizzard hires union-busting firm as workers start to come together. WilmerHale will quote-unquote review Activision Blizzard HR policies. Now, I looked into this a little bit more, and I came across, and because of that Kotaku article that I just showed, they linked to an article written in February of this year from the Revolving Door Project. And it's kind of disturbing. Almost 6,000 Amazon warehouse workers are voting to rejoin the retail, wholesale, and department stores union this week. Amazon has ruthlessly fought back attempts by workers to come together for better pay and working conditions, dragging workers into propagandistic anti-union meetings, paying temps to wear anti-union messages, and sending text blasts and leaving flyers in bathrooms telling workers to vote no. Their playbook is guided by a gamut of expensive anti-union consultants and law firms who coach businesses on how to bust unions. So, Jamie Gorelick, a close friend and confidant to potential Attorney General Merrick Garland, sits on the board of Amazon and is a partner at WilmerHale, one of many anti-union firms. WilmerHale's work brazenly suppressing unions and her affiliation with the monopolist like Amazon render their close relationship deeply concerning. All the more so since Gorelick has drawn public attention to their friendship in recent weeks, a likely wink aimed at potential WilmerHale clients. The contrast is stark in light of President Biden's promise to the AFL-CIO saying, "If I'm in the Oval Office, guess who's going to be with me? Unions." And this continues on to be actually very scary, that this is the law firm that has been hired by Activision Blizzard. And some of the names that have been listed here and what they do is kind of disturbing. And I have to say that while I applaud the fact that Blizzard opens their doors to try and help people, if Activision Blizzard employees approach this woman to talk about unfair practices and sexual harassment and anything within the allegations of the lawsuit, this is showing that they're going to try and make sure that these people do not band together to form a union that would otherwise protect them from these big scale issues that the gaming industry has had. And a lot of people in the gaming industry, myself included, have stated that unionizing will not necessarily fix the problem, but it will be a step in helping people not get completely screwed over by big name companies, and especially by big name corporations like Amazon, who does not seem to want to pay people properly, that the work conditions are really bad. If you want to look more into Amazon and its practices, there's a long list of articles and resources you can find regarding that. Amazon, while they are fantastic for being able to send people all types of products, especially through the pandemic, it does not make them an extremely good company because of how poorly they also treat their workers. And if WilmerHale has also worked with Amazon to try to prevent unions from being created to protect the workers of Amazon, what's to stop them from doing the same thing for Activision Blizzard and for the gaming industry in general? And I have read multiple things and seen multiple things about people, other gaming companies who are also looking to hire these big name law firms to try and stop the gaming industry from unionizing because they know they're going to get screwed over. The corporations The higher ups are there to make money. They're there for them. They are not there for the consumer. And people need to remember that no matter what you're trying to do at the moment, the best thing to do is to try and find a way to protect the workers, because there is too much happening that is extremely bad for the consumer and for the worker. And in that Kotaku article, just extremely quickly, basically, WilmerHale is a big, powerful law firm that takes on big, powerful clients. Lawyers from the combined firm were part of special investigative committees hired to look into the finances of both Enron and WorldCom. Wilmer, Cutler, and Pickering represented Swiss banks accused of profiting from the Holocaust, as well as German companies accused of exploiting forced labor during the Nazi era. WilmerHale also has a reputation for attracting lawyers with an eye for public service, particularly U.S. government services. Partner Stephanie Avakian, who is heading up the Activision Blizzard policy review process, served as the Securities and Exchange Commission's enforcement director during the Trump administration. Jamie Gorelick, Deputy Attorney General of the United States during the Clinton administration, has been with WilmerHale Partners since 2003 and a member of Amazon's board of directors since 2012. It's Gorelick's association with Amazon, as well as WilmerHale's advertised anti-union services, that give the firm its union-busting reputation. Earlier this year, Amazon workers in Alabama voted against unionizing following a company-led campaign that included lengthy information meetings spreading anti-union rhetoric and signs with the slogan, "Do it without dues," suggesting the proposed union was only interested in taking workers' fees without offering any substantial support. The partnership also comes at a time when Activision Blizzard employees, empowered by the very public lawsuit, have begun speaking out en masse about their company policies. Prior to Bobby Kotick's announcement about bringing on WilmerHale, thousands of employees signed a public letter condemning the company's initial reaction to the allegations raised in the lawsuit. This was followed by Wednesday's walkout, in which Activision Blizzard employees around the world stopped working for several hours. Support for the peaceful demonstration poured in from all corners of the gaming community. The situation as a whole has been the impetus for renewed conversations about the value and importance of unionizing. I will link a couple of videos that Asmergold has released about the Activision Blizzard lawsuit, about some of the statements that people have made, like Metzen and Morheim and Kotick and that kind of thing. And I will also be linking a 20-minute video of a lawyer breaking down the facts of the lawsuit and what needs to happen, what needs to be proved. But the last thing that I would like to talk about is MMO Champion released, I guess, a thread, if you will, or a giant post sort of covering a lot of different things. And on the evening before our employee walkout, Activision Blizzard leadership released a statement apologizing for their harmful responses to last week's DFEH lawsuit. While we are pleased to see that our collective voices, including an open letter with thousands of signatures from current employees, have convinced leadership to change the tone of their communications, this response fails to address critical elements at the heart of employee concerns. Activision Blizzard's response did not address the following: the end of forced arbitration for all employees, which means that Blizzard employees cannot go and get their own lawyers. They have to use in-house arbitration whenever there is some kind of problem, which is why I said it was sort of good that they brought on an outside law firm that people could talk to, but as we've already proven, it's not necessarily a good thing either. The second point, worker participation in oversight of hiring and promotion policies. They didn't change any of that. They deleted some NPCs and made a few statements to make them look good. 3, the need for greater pay transparency to ensure equality. Yeah, they said nothing about the pay and making sure that women are being paid the same as their male counterparts. And as much as the person is controversial, there is a YouTuber who does a lot of news videos, the Quartering, who talked about how he's had multiple people approach him about the culture at Activision Blizzard and how it wasn't just women who were being harassed. In some cases, there were men that were also targets. So bear that in mind when you're thinking about this kind of thing. And the fourth point, employee selection of a third party to audit HR and other company processes. Today's walkout will demonstrate that this is not a one-time event that our leaders can ignore. We will not return to silence. We will not be placated by the same processes that led us to this point. This is the beginning of an enduring movement in favor of better labor conditions for all employees, especially women, in particular women of color and transgender women, non-binary people, and other marginalized groups. We expect a prompt response and a commitment to action from leadership on the points enumerated above, and look forward to maintaining a constructive dialogue on how to build a better Activision Blizzard for all employees. Today, we stand up for change. Tomorrow and beyond, we will be the change. And that really sums up everything, especially after Bobby Kotick's better stated statement than any of the other Blizzard executive statements, but still lacking very critical information and change. And that's kind of where we are. So hopefully that brings you all up to speed on everything that's going on. There's probably going to be a ton more about this in the coming weeks, and we are definitely going to keep an eye on the Activision Blizzard situation. So I'd love to know your thoughts. I know that once again, this is an incredibly long video, but it's an incredibly long situation, issue, and something that has been going on in our industry for longer than it ever should have. And therefore, I am going to rant about it as long as I feel like it. So if you don't like that, I'm sorry. That's just how I roll. So with that, thank you so much for supporting my video, supporting Patreon if you are a Patreon member, joining Discord, following me on Twitter or any other social media sites. And I hope to see you in the next video. You have a great day.